Hey there, welcome back to another Nomad Rundown. Today, we'll start with learning the fundamentals of using one of my favorite tools, the stamp tool. Then, I'll give you some creative examples on how it can be used to make your sculpts. Let's start with a new Nomad scene and jump right into sculpting. The most essential place to look first when you activate the tool is this alpha panel in the lower left-hand side. I can expand this menu using this little expand icon here. In this menu, you can select one of the black and white alpha images, which will be the map of the stamp tool. You can see I've uploaded many of my own, which I'll show you how to do in a bit. But let's start with one of the built-in ones in case you're following along. This menu will be the main interaction when you're using this tool, so get familiar with its layout. I'll close this out with the X here and start using the tool. When we start to use the stamp tool, you'll immediately notice a difference in the way your marks are applied. In the stamp tool, the alpha is locked in place, so instead of creating a chain of your chosen shape, it only applies a single instance of it. So now, when I pull my pencil outwards, I'm able to control the size and rotation of that alpha mark, instead of creating a brush-like stroke like we've seen with the other tools. This mechanic may feel strange at first, but it's a great way to apply these textures right where you want them. The purpose of our brush size and strength sliders on the left have also changed in this context. The radius slider we're used to does not affect anything in the default stamp, since the radius is being controlled by our pencil. On the other hand, the intensity slider directly affects the depth of your mark's displacement to the surface. Note that this can be adjusted with one hand, while your other still has the tool active. So, you're able to roughly place your alpha with one hand, then use your other to dial in the depth of your stamp before you validate it by releasing with your pencil. Below these two sliders, we have the sub toggle once again. This, of course, allows you to swap back and forth between additive and subtractive stamps. Subtractive stamps can be super helpful for things such as inset panels on your model, while the main additive stamp can be used for textures such as feathers, or for adding things like fake screws to your model's surface. Note here that when I push this subtractive stamp really far inward, you can see the geometry breaking a bit along these edges. It's recommended for most stamp applications that you use a fairly high quality alpha for the stamp, as well as using high resolution surfaces to ensure the expected clean stamp outcome. Now, before we get into some creative uses for using the stamp tool, let's talk a bit more about the alpha panel and some of my recommendations for making your own. Making your own alphas can be as easy or complex as you want to make it. If you're looking for fairly simple or standardized things such as a screw or a feather texture, let's say, then the internet is your best friend. Just look up feather pattern alphas and you'll find some accessible options, like this one on CG Trader. Many of the higher quality, ready to go alphas are behind a paywall or require an account to download, which I of course recommend if you're able to support community artists. However, there's a fairly straightforward way to make your own alphas. You can go out and source any textural images or take some of your own. I like to use Cosmos for my images as I find the curation is a bit more my speed. Here, I can find a pattern that I like, such as this concrete texture form. I can download this directly and just open it up in any photo editing app that I like. Here, I'll just use the stock Photos app to make my life a little bit easier. What you're looking for here is an image that has high contrast of black to white. White values will show up positive by default, and dark values will apply as negative. Any areas of gray you have will fall between these two endpoints, so adjust your image until you find a balance that looks correct to your purpose. Note that your alpha does not need to be square for the purpose of the stamp tool. Now back in Nomad, I can expand my alphas panel and select this import button at the top. Now just select your new alpha image and you're good to go. It should appear in this personal alpha library folder here. You can see that I've made many of my own, including my brand mark for easy access. Let me know if you're interested in any of these in the comments, and I might just have a texture pack in the works. You can also see that I like to make multiple versions of the same alpha, but edited differently, which yields interesting results. Okay, great. Now that you have a basic understanding of using and customizing the tool, let's take a look at some possible applications. You could create or download alphas of hair, feathers, or scales to quickly build up pattern based textures on your creatures or characters. These can also be stacked to create a super custom look. You could layer textures really intensively, mixing opposing textures, such as this chain link over the snakeskin. This could be really cool for creating custom graphics or abstract artworks. I use this technique a lot when I'm building up surfaces and I'm not sure of a super clear direction. I like to apply very different textures periodically while I sculpt to mix up the surface dimension until I start to find something I like. I always recommend having some sort of alphas in your stamp tool that are sort of wild card picks to keep things fresh while you're sculpting. You could use the stamp tool as a deformation tool as well, giving you a similar effect to geometry nodes in Blender. Just create a simple and wavy alpha and drag the scale out with your pencil. You can adjust the intensity to give you the look you want. You can see here that even just from the default sphere, you can start to get really interesting and unpredictable forms that can inform the silhouette of your sculpts. You could also use this in combination with symmetry or a repeat to really start to augment your shape. You could save your logo mark or iconic brand shapes in this folder to quickly add your logo onto your sculpts like a signature, or quickly add shapes to your sculpts that are reminiscent of other projects you've worked on. You could really quickly create repeated grills or tiles using simple images and cut down your sculpting time. You could use the stamp tool in combination with masks, allowing you to create things such as this pathway along a surface by masking off the area for the bricks to go. Or even use this in hard surface modeling to create panels in your model. Pushing hard surface modeling even further, it can be helpful to have a folder of different squares and simple geometric forms to make your hard surface modeling go much faster to get insets and panels blocked out with ease. Regardless of how you use it, the stamp tool is versatile, layerable, and your BFF when texturing. Let me know down below how you like to use it, or if any of these ideas helped you think of new ways to sculpt inside of Nomad. In the next video, we'll be talking about three tools: the flatten, nudge, and layer tools. These are often overlooked and are underrated tools that can help streamline your workflow. Be sure to check out my breakdown of all the other tools in Nomad and my workflow walkthroughs as well. That's all for this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I'll see you in the next part. See you soon. Peace. And also subscribe and check out my other videos. Okay, bye.